My lords and noble knights, welcome to another online battle. This is Geoffrey and this battle is a retake of the previous battle. Again, the same Southern European fortress. This time I am attacking as the Turks. They are the same rules. 3 cavalry maximum per player, 3 artillery maximum per player, but the defenders only allow 2 per player. It's a 3v2 battle. The defenders have 30,000 florins, the attacker has 45,000 florins, and the unit size is normal, not huge. So this is my army, a mix of Janissary infantry, Hashashim, Nafatoon, and a few other units. Here's my ally, also the Turks, the artillerist. He has no Nafatoons, he has mainly Janissary heavy infantry, he has Janissary musketeers and Janissary archers, so he's brought a Janissary army. He's also got some spearmen, 2 units of Kwapakulu, and 1 unit of Sipahi lancers. He also has 1 unit of cannon, I have 2. And over the other side is our third ally, 8th Legion, this and that. And he is commanding the Byzantine Strange Alliance.
Praise be to Allah! We are through the enemy's walls! Let him who defies us lay in peril!
He's bringing along many units of dismounted Latanicon. He's bringing many, about 5 or 6 units of guard archers, some Varangians, 2 units of cavalry. One of them has a bodyguard unit in it, and he has 2 units of bomb barracks, which are hitting the walls at this moment. And here are our 2 enemies. Milan, commanded by MasterScrub, and Portugal, commanded by Even. And there is the reserve for 4 dismounted conquistadors in the plaza. So our enemies have scattered the units all over. Here is a general bodyguard unit without a general, and various other units down this way manning the towers. And a very interesting arrangement is a bunch of Milanese units here. There are some crossbowmen and some spearmen or pikemen and so on, and a unit of catapults guarding this side. And here are some more Milanese units and a unit of catapults that probably had been left by mistake on the outer wall and is being brought back in.
Our enemy's gates have fallen!
I lamented in the previous battle how congested it was in this settlement, which is congested by itself. So I wanted to have another go with the type of army. I would have preferred the Turks to attack this type of settlement. I've also reduced the size of the units, but that's probably in favor now of the attackers. So here are more Milanese and Genoese and Portuguese units scattered around. The Milanese are preparing their defense of this wall, a very clever tactic. They have also crossbowmen on the walls, and the Portuguese are sending a couple of units to help them out, some heavy melee infantry. The enemies manning as many towers as they can, and on this side the Turks have made a hole and then they brought their units, but they just left them there. I'm not quite sure why. They're trying to fire at that general bodyguard cavalry unit with their missile units, but they're probably losing more men. They're killing no one for sure from the arrow fire from the towers. So this is not great. In fact, this infantry just doesn't need to be there. And he's making a ton of holes in the walls, which is unnecessary, but we have enough artillery, so that's not too much of an issue. So here are his archers and Janissary musketeers. The Janissary musketeers are trying to fire through the wall at a cavalry unit, and his infantry is just standing there taking fire from the towers. So the Janissary infantry finally decide to move in. The cavalry unit falls back.
The cowardly enemy have lost the walls. Send your troops to take the rest of the settlement.
And remember, he has two Kapakulu cavalry units, which would probably do reasonably well against his general bodyguard. He also has a Sipai Lancer unit. And here is my Turkish force. They are moving in with their siege towers. The enemy is vanished. They're clearly only bluffing. This wall continues to be hit by the bombards. The Portuguese are slowly retreating. But let's go back to that other engagement. So instead of sending the Kapakulu, he sent the Sipahi Lancers. They attacked the general's bodyguard in the rear. Then they retreat. Perhaps they are hoping to draw the Portuguese cavalry into their gentry heavy infantry. And the gentry heavy infantry indeed try to engage them in melee, but they pass by. They just ignore the heavy infantry and attack the archers behind in melee. It was a move. It wasn't a very good one. I would have saved that cavalry for another opportunity later. And so I actually attacked the gentry musketeers, who are useless in the siege. And finally the Kapakulu are moving in, and that Portuguese cavalry unit is surrounded and fights to the death. So here are the Byzantines. It's a nice view of the fortress, and my Turkish force slowly moving in towards the center. And here is again that interesting group of units with a catapult defending this side of the fortress. So it would have been a great opportunity to send his Kapakulu here while they're not very well organized, and just disrupt them as much as possible, kill as many as he can. Or another possibility would have been to move up his archers and behind some buildings where the catapult can't fire at them and harass them. Instead, he's brought these three musketeer units in this very strange arrangement, as if they are going to fire through the wall and through each other. I'm not really sure what kind of arrangement this is. I've never seen this kind of deployment before. Now they're running towards the catapult. They, of course, they are protected, so they could be charged by a melee unit. But now they're running back. The catapult is about to fire at them. They're not firing to anyone. So I'm not sure what is happening here. They just had actually been shot by the crossbows, and they just walk away. They don't fire back. The artillerist has brought some gentry heavy infantry to confront the attacking Portuguese heavy infantry. And some spearmen are behind as a reserve. The musketeers don't do much at the moment, they just stand there looking cool. And there they take some heavy hits from that catapult. The catapult breaks also the Portuguese unit that rounds back. Here are those hits. So there go about 10 gentry musketeers and a bunch of gentry heavy infantry. They also kills a couple of Portuguese knights, and they run back. The gentries look amazed. What was that? So my cannons are ready to fire on their side. The Portuguese, seeing that, they decide to send a unit to attack the cannons. Of course, I had a ton of units around here. Unfortunately, I had enough to turn on skirmish mode, so they're running around like idiots. And so my gentry heavy infantry attack them. The platoon will throw a couple of enough pots, and the enemy will rout. So that Portuguese unit of knights lost about half its strength, and my men reformed to let the artillery fire. The artillerists, Turks, find the opportunity to move closer to the catapult, which isn't necessarily a great idea. So they've bunched up all the spearmen here. They've been held up by some Milanese knights, and they have been murdered by the crossbow. The good thing about this is that the catapults got backed out. They were probably on fire at will, and some Chancery units were approaching from the other side, so they started running, so turning around and round and round until they were stopped by the Milanese player. And so now they're ready to fire against the Turks on that side. Look at this shot. Grazes over the heads, the front line, kills a bunch of spearmen over there. And one more shot. Killing just a couple, but there's more to come. This shot, for example, killing about a dozen of Turkish spearmen. And the catapults of destruction are about to fire again. Look at the charred bodies of the dead Turkish soldiers. The Janissaries have arrived on the side along with a unit of Hashashim that the artillerists had. My Nafatoon have come to help. They're trying to take out the mortar crew. And finally, the artillerist has brought in his Janissary archers, which are now firing at the enemy. In the meantime, on our side, the Byzantines and myself are breaking down the walls at the front of the fortress, and the catapult of destruction keeps firing bolts of fire on the enemy. Here the Byzantines are moving in. The melee here goes on. I'm not sure if this is the best tactic. This is not what I would have done. I would have either worn them down with missile units or charged them with my cavalry. But that's the way to do it, I guess. And here's my other unit of cannon. He's firing from this position at the walls of the keep. And some Ottoman infantry are skirmishing. And my cannon on this side is taking down the rest of the wall at the front of the keep. The two towers over the gate are gone. The melee here goes on. The Hashashim and Janissaries are making slow progress. Here, that wall has been hit now by my cannon, and so the crossbowmen that were on that wall are going downstairs. And that wall falls. We've reached that wall. And the defense here is coming to an end. The catapults trying to fire one more volley, but the last crew members are killed by an Nafatoon fire and the arrow fire from the Janissary archers. Nafatoon are also hitting the crossbowmen defending now. Here are the last few crewmen, just 2 left, and these catapults are now unusable. But let's go back to this side. So we've broken down the walls everywhere.
We must strike faster than the wind.
We made all the holes we could make, we destroyed all the towers, and the Byzantines are moving in. The Milanese and Portuguese sally out from the keep, and a battle ensues in front of the keep walls, except that my Nafatoon have a perfect opportunity to show their skill. So here are my glorious Nafatoon, the commandos of the ancient world, throwing the naphtha bombs. In fact, the inventors of the naphtha bomb were the Byzantines, not Egypt or the Turks. And naphtha bombs have been found in a Byzantine fortress that we excavated, and they're in display in a Greek museum. So the Milanese are routed along with the Portuguese on that side, and my Nafatoon now are hitting the next units down that way. The Portuguese are bringing reinforcements. The Byzantines are charging in with their dismounting the Titanicon. Nafatoons are having a field day here. And the Byzantine have infantry or dismounted lancers, whatever they are, taking tons of prisoners, more naphtha bombs.
Victory is well within our grasp. Time our foe will surely see this and lose heart.
And we've basically nearly pushed our enemy back to their keep walls. More Nafatoons hit these Milanese guys. They are about to break. And the Portuguese try to attack one of the Nafatoon units, but they break. Another Portuguese unit tries to go for the Nafatoon, and they will break as well. And these pikemen are desperately holding the breach here as everybody's routing. And they get Nafatoon bombs, naphtha bombs in their face. They are moving back. And the Byzantines are just, laughing. Everyone is running away. So our enemy has run back into the keep, and the Byzantines decide to give them a break and not charge in. The last unit of Portuguese knights that attempted to attack my Nafatoon is broken there, fighting to the death. And we are about to break down the gate. Here moving in my Nafatoon nearer towards the center, and the Byzantine player is sending his archers, but puzzlingly he is not sending in any infantry. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. And our other Turkish ally, the artillerist, is sending in nobody. He's put some musketeers there at the front, trying to fire through the walls and the houses. I don't think they're going to kill anybody.
Victory is well within our grasp. Time our foe will surely see this and lose heart.
My Nafatoon unit that helped defeat the enemy on this side has moved in. You can see their flag. There they are. And as the Milanese are not attacking anyone, my Nafatoon are going to take a few pot shots. So the Byzantines have sent a small unit in to give time for our other units to deploy. They have brought my Geoffrey archers, and the Nafatoon take the opportunity to run over to the side, and now they have a perfect view of our enemy. What trickery is this? What is this? The dismounted, what are they? Dismounted men at arms are running off. They don't want any more of this. Their expensive armor wasn't bought for nothing. And so my Hashishima are moving to the side, and the dismounted men at arms, or whatever these people are, knights of some kind, go for my Nafatuns. Another unit go for my Hashishima. Another unit of Hashishima attacks the other flank, and our archers are firing.
Victory is well within our grasp. Time our foe will surely see this and lose heart.
So here are my gentry archers, and you can see in the distance a unit of Milanese crossbowmen behind the front line. The Hashishima are attacking the flanks, and the archers are firing through the middle. Here the crossbowmen are taking a ton of arrows in their face, and they turn their shields against us. Very clever move. My Hashishima managed to get past, and they have attacked the crossbowmen in melee. And so the crossbowmen taking out the swords and forget about the crossbows. The frontline units hit by Nafatun had it, and they go back into the keep. A few knights charge out, but they're being cut down by the Nafatun. And the Nafatun are having a field day. This is a good game for them. More Nathapos are being thrown at the Milanese units. So I am much happier about this style of fighting in this fort. If you have watched the previous online battle number 10, you would have seen what a mass of bodies was here. Nobody was going anywhere, everybody was stuck, everything was clogged, all the archways were blocked, everything. Whereas here we have some mobility, some small units, some Nafatun, making great progress moving towards the plaza very quickly. But that was the end of that quickness, because my allies had brought some expensive archers and missile units, including those 3 units of gentry musketeers and a ton of guard archers that must have costed like half the cost of the Byzantine army must have been those guard archers. So they wanted to use them. They also wanted to use their artillery, which they hadn't really used up yet. So here my Nafatun are killing those men, and so I get at this point some complaints that I'm blocking the way, and my allies cannot fire into the enemy and things like that. So I'm pulling back my units, and of course you can guess what's going to happen. So here are the giant musketeers of the artillerists. They're just walking around as if they're in a holiday or something, and they're in a party, and suddenly they see some men charging at them. How surprising. Luckily they had some men hiding behind the walls there, so they saved my allies' giant musketeers. And so we're back attacking that enemy front line that has moved forward once again. But that's not all that bad. Those Byzantine guard archers have been very helpful, peppering them with arrows. And these very heavily armored, dismounted conquistadors are having their hands full. Wow, this guy had a halberd on his head, another halberd on his head. How long is he going to last? Whoa, that was it. Dead. And my lovely Hashishima are having a field day, and now the Nafatun start firing.
half the enemy force remains. We must pray they lose their will to fight.
And that's the tail end of those dismounted conquistadors. Now we're back charging the Milanese lines. They have some upgraded Milanese pike militia trying to stop Janissary heavy infantry and Hashishim. They aren't going to get very far. And the enemy is charging out some crossbowmen who probably have used their crossbows up. They have used their ammunition up. Although in a fortress they should have had plenty of spare ammunition. Never mind, it's only a game. And my Janissary infantry are hacking them down with their giant halberds. And more Nafatun are going in. This is the way to attack this congested fortress.
A foe fights with horns made of clay. We are winning the battle.
Here some Ottoman infantry are firing at the crossbowmen the enemy has put on that slope at the base of that wall to block or to fire into our men as they would approach this way. Of course, I am approaching with such small units like 10 Hashishim at a time, backed up by a couple of Nafatun from a depleted unit or something. That's not really worth their fire. They don't really have targets. So now they decided to concentrate on my Ottoman archers who are on that wall, and they will suffer enormous casualties. The Ottoman archers, they will lose most of their men, but they're also presenting a good target, and they are losing men to my Ottoman archers. So there's a duel between the crossbowmen on the side, there's more of them but more densely packed, and the Ottoman archers on my side, fewer of them, more spread out. And so just a handful of Hashishim here have made the enemy really get their hands tied. They have the hands not tied, they have their hands full with just a handful of Hashishim. And so these Janissary infantry will have used all their ammunition, charged with their daggers, and start killing the Aventuros and the pike militia.
The enemy are badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
So the Milanese pike militia upgraded, and upgraded Aventuros, Portuguese Aventuros. And some spearmen are helping along. So these are almost my last reserves that I'm throwing this way. Even my archers are going in. And I was saying, please bring some heavy infantry this way. The Byzantines were keeping their heavy infantry behind the keep walls. And I said, no, we want to hit them with our cannons and our musketeers. Pull your men out so we can hit them with my cannons and musketeers. So that was, we had a bit of a disagreement there. So I'm saying, okay, if you want to hit them with your cannons and musketeers, I'm going to pull my men to the side. So I'm pulling these Janissary heavy infantry to the side near the wall. And my Byzantine ally is so frustrated he couldn't hit the enemy infantry because my men were on the way. He decides to demolish that building so he can fire at the guys behind it. And so finally these guard archers have run out of ammunition. Well, this happened, but the other ones did. And these ones have run out of ammunition. So finally, some men are coming to help me. Some men of my allies are joining my effort to reach the plaza. And here's the other side. So I've committed practically all my remaining infantry on this side. I think maybe I have one unit in reserve still. And the heavily upgraded Aventuros are holding their ground. They're not letting anyone in. I'm fighting with spearmen, Janishri archers armed with daggers, and this is ridiculous. So at this point I'm saying, okay, if you want to hit them with your cannon, I like your idea, I have a plan, so you fire them with a cannon, off we go. And so my remaining infantry, whatever was worth not very much, runs to safety, and the Byzantines are ready to fire their bombards. The approaching enemy, finally they have the opportunity. And of course they had some Nafatoon in reserve. I hadn't thrown everyone in, and so the Nafatoon are now killing the approaching Portuguese infantry. And my Byzantine ally, who hasn't managed to fire a single shot, then withdraws his artillerymen and attacks the dismounted conquistadors with his archers that have fired all the arrows. And the Portuguese army is taking so much nothing on their faces, they decide to call it a day and head back home. So everybody routes. Everybody heads back home. And now if you had infantry and cavalry, this place will be an open street.
All fights with worms made of clay. We are winning the battle.
Here's some like tiny column. So we have some infantry, some heavy infantry, about 20 or 30 like tiny column on this side. The enemy is bringing in their crossbowmen who have fired their bolts, and now they are manning the front lines. And the unit of dismounted conquistadors from Ivan's Portuguese come to their aid. The crossbowmen are routed. My infantry is back into the mix, and they are holding now these men, hoping some reinforcements will come and bypass them, overtake them. The Portuguese are throwing in their last crossbowmen who have fired their bolts. Finally, my Byzantine ally is throwing some heavy infantry on this side. And the Portuguese, seeing that they are being outnumbered, decide to retreat to the archway on this side. On the other side, my last remaining Janissaries are fighting off some Milanese. The balance now is 43% allies killed, 77% of our enemies killed. So we're doing very well with the balance, probably better than in the previous fight. And we've gotten to the plaza quickly. In fact, we've gotten into the plaza more or less, and out and in and out a couple of times. So my men are fighting under the archway at the front here. And they're still holding their ground. Some Ottoman heavy infantry come into the area of the plaza. They just walk around, there's nobody around. Hello, we can all walk in. Will you walk in along with us? No? Okay, we're going back out.
Allah have mercy. We have lost half of our men.
So I'm setting a unit of Hashashim. These were my last reserve, if I'm not mistaken. And they go and attack some Portuguese who were holding that side.
Victory is well within our grasp. Time our foe will surely see
And
this.
my Kakulu now, they make a fantastic charge into the backs of those men fighting my Chanceries. And finally everybody gets the idea that we can really just walk in. Okay, so Manafatoon are firing at this makeshift line that the Portuguese have put together, some pikemen, some dismounted conquistadors and so on. My Naphtun are going to have a nice field, except that I don't have many Naphtun left by now because they've been at the front all the time. They have been murdered by the crossbows. Our enemy also had a unit of catapults at this point in the plaza. You can see it there in the distance. And he is aiming at my Naphtun and at my single unit of Geoffrey musketeers and at my only real unit of infantry, that Hashashim unit that started with 30 men is already down to 20, being hit by the first shot of the catapults. Will soon be down to 10 after hit by the second shot from the catapults. And they are really my only remaining infantry. The only unit that had more than like 20 men. So there he's firing at my Geoffrey musketeers. Oh yeah, that's right. They're at the distance in the corner. And I have some Naphtun here that are throwing some naphtha pots. And the enemy does nothing about them because there are only 4, so they're looking for more juicy, meatier units to fire their crossbow bolts at. Here goes another shot at my Hashashim and another shot at my only unit of Naphtun that had more than 4 or 5 men in it.
Victory is well within our grasp. Time our foe will surely see this and lose heart.
And one more. There are about 7 men of that Hashashim unit left. They were just behind the wall, they kept getting hit. And one of my allies has brought in a bombard, the Byzantines. They're hitting their mortar, their catapult, but they miss. So here my Kapakulu got fed up at this, and they charged the pikes, the heavily armored, upgraded Portuguese aventurers. They killed 3 of my Kapakulu, but those aventurers, I think, are nearly all dead. And so now some Milanese knights are joining in. There are about a handful of aventurers, about 10 of them. My Naphtun have been thrown all the naphtha pots. They are attacking in melee. Cycling their charges. That's all they can do. I have 4 infantry, so yeah. Come on, people. Although Byzantine army is just sitting there watching. And the few remaining Hashashim have been routed. But finally the Byzantines are moving in. Here they're charging with their cavalry. And they are slowly also bringing in their infantry. The enemy now is very depleted. They have some sort of a defensive line, but there are like a handful of crossbowmen and a handful of knights over there and a handful of dismounted conquistadors. And now finally the Varangian Guard is here.
The foe fights with horns made of clay. We are winning the battle.
So the percentage, the balance is 52 losses, I think, 87. We've lost 52, they've lost 87%. There's still some Naphtun left, they're firing their naphtha pots. Here my Kapakulu have noticed that this side is only being guarded by crossbowmen, so they're trying to squeeze their way past the crossbowmen into the plaza, and they succeed. So the Kapakulu now are in the plaza.
Our cursed foremost, merciful Allah, save us! Our cursed enemy is in control of the castle.
And they do the right thing. They charge the Milanese catapult. There they go. Not a glorious charge, but a charge nonetheless. One of the 2 catapults has been destroyed by the Byzantine bombard. So Kapakulu now charge the enemy front lines in the rear. Managed to kill a bunch of crossbow militia. That was the Milanese general unit there. They counterattacked my capocolo, and 2 cavalrymen tripped over a pike and died. And so my capocolo are running loops around them here. They've charged against the catapult crew. Unfortunately, they got a volley of crossbow bolts in their faces, and half of them died. And so they're going to go up this gentle hill slope, get the wall on their backs, and defend themselves to death against the Milanese general. Here he is with a few knights around. He has some feudal knights. He's got about 30 feudal knights or 40 feudal knights still around him. And further away, the Milanese crossbowmen are firing at the Byzantines in the plaza, or in front of the plaza. The Aventurers are still holding the ground. They are being helped by some Milanese feudal knights. The Varangians are striking them with their massive axes.
Men have slain the infidel general. The serpent's head has been cut off. The tail is sure to wither.
And there goes the Portuguese general.
Good tidings, Sultan. The enemy is no longer
He
in
died
command of the castle.
fighting. And one more shot by that goddamn catapult.
Victory is well within our
And
grasp.
my general now at it. And so, seeing that the enemy line is crumbling, he moves into the plaza with his bodyguard. And this time the catapult had it. They're about to fire one last shot. They almost managed. And now they're stuck in melee, and their general is still fighting against the capocolo up that hill. And so there's nobody now to help them. And I'm charging the crossbowmen, the Palace crossbowmen up the hill. Okay, the general has managed to kill the capocolo, and he's put his back against the wall because he doesn't want to die. And some Portuguese are still defending the plaza, and that's it. The catapult crew is dead. The Portuguese are being flanked by my general. The Byzantines are all over them. My general goes back up the hill to attack the palace. Here the few remaining pike militia draw out the swords.
Our men have taken control of the castle.
Still some naphtun going on. And there are still a few men left. Here's death by being split in the middle to the axe, or Varangian axeman. And that's the day. Another victory. A more fun battle than the last one. Less bloody. More fiery even. The naphtun make it a little bit hotter. More fun to attack this way. Perhaps in some ways equally cinematic.
The foe fights with horns made of clay. We are winning the battle.
The artillerist has finally sent some of his Turks in, and they are taking care of the Milanese general, who is making his last stand here. And that was the battle, my lords. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed playing it.
The Victory is ours. Victory both righteous and well-deserved. It cannot be said otherwise.
A glorious victory. The artillerist had a little bit of trouble, so he didn't score many kills. The others did okay. MasterScrub was particularly effective as a defender with that catapult stand. Among my men, the Nafatum did well, as did one unit of Janissary heavy infantry and the Hashashim. The one unit of Hashashim the artillerist had his general in it and did extremely well, killing twice as many men as his 4 companies of Janissary musketeers. And do remember, my lords, if you have brought musketeers to a siege, that death waits for no one.